No, 3 minutes late.
Communication goals should be strides. Okay. I'm going to have the strides there. Albina can help with the rankings.
You can do the ranking.
Okay.
All right, I got the broadcast started for the Lunar Ellipse session, which is good. So that is started. Recruitment Commission.
There from the schedule sheet, should we remove the people like Abdul and the other Salman, Idiot, Mike? Are they necessary there?
I know everyone who's not in the budget does not need to be in the schedule.
Yeah, just remove them.
All right, I'm doing top average hourly ranking. Zeta says 339. And Albina, you are at 333. You still haven't done mine yet. And what about night?
What about?
Are you guys in the night or day or what?
I'm on the night, on midnight.
What?
Yes.
I'm middle of the night.
Middle of the night?
Yes.
For me, it's 10 p.m.
All right, so 10 p.m. would be after 9, so that would be, I believe, 1.5.
Yeah.
And is this Lunar Perigee?
Lunar Perigee Commissioners.
Cool. All right, so I think I'm done with the equity. I'll just add it to the network equity real quick.
Yeah, I have done it slides and I've been done it rankings.
With rankings. Ping.
So I'm assuming this would go at the end of week 2.
Hello, am I lost? Hello.
I can hear you. So I'm going to put this at the end of week 2. All right. So I think we're done with the value tracking. Any questions on the value tracking?
Alvin, excuse me, can you silence can make its surrounding from
Oh,
inside.
sorry.
Any questions on the value tracking or rankings
question.
or anything? All right. So I think we're going to skip the evaluations and prioritization. And we can go directly to, because of hard stop, right? Skip for hard stop. And then we go directly to desired outcomes and topic review. So obviously I'd like to, oh, Zilu?
Yeah.
You want a review on recruitment team setup?
Yes, few things remains. We can review on those.
On what?
Recruitment, no. Team setup, not. Whereas recruitment commission setup. Sorry.
What's your goal though? What's the outcome?
Outcome is to focus on the things that remains, and we can complete that.
How about we review this verification spreadsheet?
Yeah, the verification spreadsheet having all the list of the setup for priorities. Responsibilities.
Yeah, so we want to be clear with our desired outcomes. Like when you talk about recruitment commission setup, that's a completely different thing, because the recruitment commission setup is going through all of the tasks to set up a super team.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if we have time for it. That really helps us right now. We can go over that when we have more people. Okay.
We are on 15-second breath.
All right. Do you want to do that?
Yes. Can we exhale together? We inhale, then we exhale together.
Cool. So from here, we want to consider more desired outcomes. So another desired outcome is to review and next steps from the Lucy situation in terms of what's going on with her. I mean, I don't have any communication with her right now. She cut off communication with all the groups that she was on. So I'm just not sure exactly what to do that. If anyone wants to talk to her or wants to invite her to the session, because it would be ideal if she would be here, but I don't know, maybe she'll come to one of the other sessions. I really don't know. But that's up to her, of course. But we can go over that more when we get to it. Also, I think we want to go over the prime plan and what we need to do to focus on recruitment. Are there any other desired outcomes?
None.
I do have a few proposals. So I don't know if we're gonna go over proposals at this time, so we'll possibly review proposals. All right, so topics. We would be doing, I would say we would start with Lucy. And then time plan, recruitment, verification. I don't know, anything else?
1, 2, 3, no. These are all.
verification.
Proposals probably.
Then proposals.
So if we do review proposals, that would go in the proposals section.
Okay.
Okay, so are there any other topics? Also, we're no longer putting the schedule of sessions into
Okay,
the
so
notes. Also, like, there's a whole bunch of issues with the schedule and the calendar and scheduling in general, the responsibility organizing, and we need to just, I mean, there should just be like a moon clock doc. I mean, I don't know why we don't have a single doc with all of our sessions that we can just link at any time. Like, it doesn't make any sense that we're not organized for our sessions. So we need to fix that. So that would be a responsibility, right? Is just like organize our upcoming sessions, like the moon clock doc, or maybe just a doc with list of upcoming sessions. I mean, it shouldn't be complicated. I don't know why we're having so many problems with that in terms of having something really simple. All right. So, and then this is just too much for the for our setup. I mean, this goes in the notes. Put in the notes or link a doc.
okay,
Because it
we have
doesn't change. It's
updated
like
the
the
moon
same
clock
for
doc
every
till
single
next month.
session. What?
We have updated the moon clock doc until the next month, until the end of the month.
Okay, well, whatever this is should just be a list of upcoming sessions. Then it could just be a doc that's linked. It should be much simpler than it is right now. It's too much. All right, so, and it should be the same doc. Like I've been looking at the schedule and calendar, and there's like 10 different moon clock docs and you know, planetary schedules and all this stuff. It's like you're just copying and pasting information in different places. It's just really confusing. Like we literally only need one doc, and you just update it, right? And then you have the information for the whole team, right? There doesn't need to be 15 different places to go to find the information about what the next session is for the week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there's a big problem there with our schedule. So any other desired outcomes or topics, or do we have agreement on these topics, or what?
I agree on the topics.
Okay, so let's move on. So yeah, okay, we're already on schedule, so this is good. So again, the first thing is that all this needs to get deleted. So I'll delete it since no one else seems to want to. Because it's just not, that's not where it's supposed to go. We can put it here under scheduling. So do I need to go through it again, or do you understand, Zilu?
Yes, I'm
Okay, so say it. Let's hear it.
We'll link up the session schedule doc here. Link with the moon clock doc. Schedule doc.
Okay, that's a task. Well, what's the goal? Why would you even do that? What are you doing?
So that it's no longer, it's not going to be so long on the session doc, and also it's all organized in the same page. The Google Calendar of the 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 sessions and all the preliminary sessions, lunar sessions, all the sessions in the same page.
Okay, cool. And whether you do just the list or whether you do the actual moon clock doc, like, you know, I don't really care. You don't have to list the moon time for every session. You could just list the sessions, and some don't have moon time, some do, whatever. But the point is, we could also have a simple doc without the moon times, right? And just list the sessions that are upcoming. Like we could just call it upcoming sessions doc, right? Super simple. And then we could link that. And then you could link the moon clock doc to the upcoming sessions doc.
5-second pause.
All right. So we have the seasonal session tomorrow, and that's, I believe, during Andromeda. Then we have the full moon session. So hopefully we can get through today pretty quickly and then get on to tomorrow, see how all that goes. 8th moons, I mean, as far as I know, every time I ask, like, is anyone doing weekly check-ins? I don't think anyone's doing weekly check-ins, so there's no need to
last
do
week
that.
we did, I and Alpina was date of weekly check-in.
No one completed anything for weekly check-ins. Nothing was announced. It wasn't done. No one did it.
For the second 8th moon, I think nothing was done. But for the first one, we did with Zulu. We don't have coaches.
You didn't do anything.
So
You did nothing with Zulu because I never saw anything. Nothing was announced. No one ever said anything. Nothing was done. Nothing was complete. Nothing happened.
Zulu announced after we did.
Okay, but we need to do verification. So this would be on Jella team?
Yeah, 8th moon group and the Jello team.
On 8th moon. Looks like Lucy did it on February 16th. It's currently March 19th.
Probably Jello team I did. I was announced the first week.
That was March 10.
March 11th. March 9th.
10. On 10.
I know, but I'm already on March 9th and I didn't see anything. Self-assigned driven responsibilities. Self-assigned responsibilities. Self-driven responsibilities. Taxes forms verification. 8th moon session. Oh, this is what you're saying that you did. This one here. So this is easy to miss. So it wasn't a spreadsheet, which is supposed to be a spreadsheet, supposed to be linked. So yeah, I mean, this is not verified. This is not correct. It doesn't make any sense. Are we saying that we didn't make it, or we're on soft? So it just doesn't, it's not clear, right? So that you didn't verify, you didn't check it through, we didn't actually finish the work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
But my point that I'm trying to make here is if you want to do it, then you say that you want to do it. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. Right? Like what I want to get away from is exactly what happened with Lucy, where people just work on whatever the hell they want to, whenever the hell they want to, for whatever reason they want to. Right? That's unacceptable. Right? If you want to do some work, You just say it. You say, I would like to do the weekly session check-in and make it a self-driven responsibility. It's not complicated. If you don't say that, then the assumption would be that no one's doing it because no one said they were going to do it. Therefore, no one would be doing it. If someone wants to do it, then they say they're going to do it. And then they do it and they follow through with it until it's completed and verified. Right? There should be no in between. There shouldn't be like, oh, I might do it and then not really do it and then not tell anybody and not actually verify it and not follow through with it. That's what's unacceptable. You guys understand?
Yes.
So can you make it clear?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you can make it clear. You're not making it clear.
Which one I should make it clear?
We want to know whether or not someone's doing the weekly check-in or not for next week and this week. No one did this week either.
This week it was, you said that it's not really important, or whatever you said on Skype that it's not necessary.
What I'm saying now is that what matters is what people want to do. That's all I'm saying. If you want to do it, you say you're going to do it, and then you do it because you said you're doing it. If you don't want to do it, then you say you're not going to do it, and then you don't do it. Right? But what I don't want is for people to not say that they're going to do it or not do it, and then maybe do it and then not do it, or do it and then not follow through with it. That's what's unacceptable. You guys understand or not?
Yes, understanding.
So just say it. Make it clear. Albina, are you or are you not going to do the weekly check-in? Zilu, are you or are you not going to do the weekly check-in? Answer. Make it clear.
I'm going to do the weekly check-in.
I'm going to do it from next week.
Okay. So that is what we want clarity on. And so let's put it in the self-driven responsibilities. So on self-driven responsibilities, Lucy is not in good status because she's not communicating anymore, which is a problem that we'll have to figure out. And then what we're saying here is we're doing weekly check-ins. So what is the first thing you're going to do for weekly check-ins?
The verification.
No, you're going to do responsibility organizing.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes.
And then we want to link the responsibility organizing to the spreadsheet. Also, I did a new spreadsheet here, which I think is a little easier to follow because we can also do tasks. And you can see a little easier. See, it has the responsibilities, and we could add tasks as well.
30-second stretch.
All right, let's take our 30-second stretch. And thank you for making it clear if you guys are working on weekly check-ins or not. It shouldn't be complicated. And I want to make sure that you guys understand that it's really, really, really important to say what you're working on. Right? So for accountability, follow through, working as a team, clarity, getting organized, and much more. Right? This is part of our methods, work methods. To do all of those things, we announce what we are working on and by when. And then we get the work done. We follow through with it. Get verification and make sure it is completed. Otherwise, we say we're not going to do it. So what do you guys do if you get to the 8th moon or you get to the end of the week and the weekly check-in isn't completed? What do you do?
If we go and it's not completed, then we will, because it's not, if it's not completed, then we will ask them, it's not completed and I'm going to do it. If I want to do it, then I will say that I'm going to do it.
No, you already said you're going to do it, so therefore you do it and you get it done. Period. Right? Nobody wants to hear you say you're going to get it done again when you didn't do it. You understand?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what needs to change in this whole situation. If someone says they're going to do something, you do it. You don't later, after we go and bug you about it, say, "Oh, now I'm going to do it." That's unacceptable, right? So if you don't get it done, what you tell the group is that it's not happening. No one got it done. I'm not going to do it. That's what we want to hear at the end of the week if no one does it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you're not going to do it, you tell everybody that it's not going to get done and you're not going to do it. Right? That's what you do. You don't pretend like it never existed. That's what's unacceptable. Okay, let's move on. Where are we now? Anything else for the schedule? Schedule plasma, MB plasma. I think we can skip that because there's nothing related to recruitment. Proposals. I think we could do the proposals tomorrow as well because they're not directly related to recruitment. Vibes, issues, contentious situation. All right, so let's go over Lucy here. So let's do our first situation. So Lucy is contentious situation. So maybe we could start with just a round. And then go from there. So I guess I could start. Does anyone want to take notes? Taking notes? Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think there's so many issues and so many problems, and it's just like one after another. The first thing that's just obvious, glaring problem that just makes everything fall apart is that Lucy doesn't have a buddy. Right? There's no main buddy team. All the main buddy teams right now are fake. Right? It's like Albina has a fake buddy team. You know, Zilu has a fake main buddy team. Right? So basically, let's say for Zilu, you have Jessica. Jessica hasn't been heard of for months. Right? So Zilu, you had a problem with your relationship with the organization. Your direct fallback would be Jessica, because she would be your buddy, and we would communicate between you and Jessica, and we work it out. Right? But if something fell apart and there was a problem with your relationship with the organization, you would have nobody. You'd be by yourself, you'd be gone, right? So that's the same thing that's going on with Lucy right now, is she has nobody. Joseph doesn't exist. He's gone. We can't talk to Joseph, right? She has no one to talk to. She has no one to get help from. There's no clarity on what's going on. And it's just a mess, right? So my recommendation overall for you two is we just get rid of Steve O and get rid of Jessica because they're not participating, and make a main buddy team with Albina and Zilu. Also, if you guys were really serious of increasing hours and actually following through with everything and like investing the time it would take to transform this organization and get it functioning over the next month or two, I would be open and willing to consider creating a buddy team with the two of you, like the three. Maybe it's the three of us are gonna make this happen. Because I don't know what else to do. I mean, it's we're definitely getting down to the nitty gritty here.
Yeah, on the last 8 month session, I was proposing Albina to consult with Lucy and others so that we can remove the unnecessary people who are not involved, and we can make 3 people or 2 people another buddy team. So
Yeah, that would definitely make a lot of sense. So
Jessica is not available, Steve is also not, and Yusuf also not. So
yeah,
break the buddy teams and create a new one.
Yeah. So let's just list some of our issues here. Issues, we've got main buddy teams. We've got communications. We've got Lucy. So as far as Lucy goes, I mean, Lucy, I don't know exactly how do we communicate with her if she doesn't want to? I mean, maybe we just wait. Maybe we have to wait. Maybe she'll get back in touch with us in the future. But the only other thing I'll say is that, you know, when I can copy and paste this from what I wrote before, it just seems that, you know, Lucy can come back and work if she wants to, but there's a lot of like ongoing things with Lucy in relationship to her not following policies, that like our communication is really, really bad. And it takes a lot of time of back and forth, repeating things 5 times, 10 times, over and over and over again for Lucy. And it costs thousands and thousands of dollars of time and used resources. And she's totally against recruitment. She has been vocal about how she doesn't want to participate in recruitment. We basically pushed her and forced her to work in recruitment, but then she didn't do anything. I'm also very confused on what she even really does, because as far as like when I review all of the output, it's like she doesn't work on anything on her own. It almost seems like everything she works on is with someone else. It's either with Zilu or Albina. And it's like, you know, is she really doing the output? I don't really know. And then furthermore, it might be the problem because like none of it makes any sense with Lucy, how she's always so scared. It's like this constant just terror. She's just terrified of her involvement with FQN, and none of it makes any sense. And the only thing that I can put in my mind of what's going on is that maybe other people have been protecting her or something like that, and that maybe she just like doesn't know how to communicate well in relationship to work, right? That her English just isn't good enough to do work communication, in which case that might be why she doesn't understand things, right? It's just like, it's not her fault or her problem. It's just that maybe her English just isn't good enough so that when we're trying to communicate, she just doesn't understand, right? And if that's the problem, it's not, there's nothing you can do about it. It just happens to be that way. And it's nothing against Lucy at all. It's just like, it's not going to work, right? So in the context of the interesting thing about the global communications and the cultural differences and things like that is that, you know, a good example would be Abdul, right? So with Abdul, he is not good at communicating with regular English at all, right? But you put something in writing and you tell him to follow through with it, and he does exactly what he's told. He gets the work done. He reports back, right? And this is, of course, before he disappeared. I mean, obviously he's not working with us anymore. But when he was working with us, he would get the work done. And then he would get on the Hangout, and you would try to have a normal conversation with them. And it was like, you can't understand anything, right? There was very little communication of like normal communications as far as this like understanding. But then when you got to the work, he understood and he got the work done. Whereas Lucy, it's completely the opposite. It's like you get on a call with her and you have a normal communication, and the normal communication is perfectly fine. She can communicate with normal, like just like informal English, perfectly fine. I have no problem communicating with her. But then the work communication, it just like, it doesn't hit. right? Because work communication is very different than just normal informal communication. When you're doing work communication in English, it's very specific steps. You follow through with things and you get it done, right? And you're very clear about it, right? That is extremely important for an organization that focuses on work, where, you know, informal communication is actually not that important. What's important is the work communication. So if someone's not able to communicate formally in English, like Abdul, right, but he gets the work done anyways because he understands the written communication and he understands the steps and he understands the work, that's perfectly fine, right? If someone has informal communication, perfectly fine, but then they don't get the work communication and are not organized and professional in relationship to their work English, that's a problem. And I think that might have gone under our radar in relationship to Lucy, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense. Like in our organization, the workers have all the power. They can do whatever they want, whenever they want, as they want. All they have to do is follow the policies, and everything's like super mellow. And it's just constant terror and, you know, stress and like freaking out all the time. And it doesn't make any sense. So that's the only thing I can think of, is that maybe there actually is a problem with English and in the communication in relationship to work. So that's my spiel. I'll stop there. We can go to Zilu. You want to go to Zilu?
Yes. From my concern, Lucy might have taken the things in different angle and different view, but not only Lucy, we should also have to focus the work only, and the related, all the topics should be around the topic or the responsibility that we are going on and what we are talking about. That is the focus, not around of the things. That's the thing. And very specifically, if we are talking in a professional way, then it is fine. But we are going some personally things and taking the things on ourselves, and it's not a professional way to say talk, and it's not the actual way to work, and it's always violating the environment as well. If we talk around all the things right and left, but not center. Yeah, that's it. And but we can figure this all out if we agree all. But if someone going to turning in the right corner and someone is going to the back again and again, then it's a problem. And we can stop them for a few days, so it will be good to make herself or himself to rethink all the things.
Okay, thanks, Zilu. Anything else you want to add, Zilu?
No.
Albina?
Yes, for me, something with Lucy, I think also communication, English, as you said, communication has been a problem. When we go through the communication on Skype, you see maybe she misses the main point, then she takes it personally. And now the problem with her, she doesn't want to follow the policy. Like all of us, we need to follow the policy. We accept our mistake so that the problem is solved. But if someone says, I will not follow the policy, I'll not schedule for the meeting, you know, now that becomes a problem also to intervene and get a solution on that. Only that we just need to make her understand that it is not personal. Because when she says she has the best workers, like you favor other people, now that becomes now another problem. So she just needs to understand that we are focused on work, and all we need to do is to follow our policy to make sure that we are working and not taking everything on personal level. So if we get a better way of communicating to her to understand that we are all focused on work, that will help us also. I think that's it.
Anything else, Albina?
No.
Okay, so in response to Albina, one really important thing is that it's possible that it's better off for the organization to focus with the three of us, right? If the three of us can get focused, get work done without a bunch of conflict, without all the problems and all the issues that arise, and we can bring in the money and actually get, follow through with the work, bring in the money, then we can raise and build a budget for people who don't speak great English, or have different communication problems, or have different branches of the network and everything. So as we build, very different cultural branches of the network, right? Right now we have fluent English. So this is like all we have money for right now is the fluent English. And then eventually we're going to do Globish. So Globish is like a slow English, slow and simple and repeated. Right now, we just don't have the bandwidth to do everything really slowly and really simple. It's just not possible, right? We just need to focus on the fluent English and get it done. Eventually, there'll also be a fast English, which is, really like fast-paced and beyond fluent, right? That's basically people who really know English really well and can follow it really quickly, right? And this might be also accent-based or culture-based. Like you could have different groups of fast English based on culture and accent, because if you have really heavy accents, it might be harder to follow if you don't understand the accent. Anyways, more importantly, we can also do, Bengali, right? We could do other languages. So this is our top priority language, simply because of me, right? Oh, also there's Spanish. I also speak Spanish, so we could do Spanish as well. This would be our second top priority. Because everyone can, I would say most of the majority of the world can speak Globish already, right? So this is the top priority. Like the primary functioning of the network most likely will be in Globish. And obviously Lucy easily meets that 100 times over, right? And then we could have a group in Bengali. We could have, Spanish, English. Fast English would be like really low priority, because fluent English is fine. So basically fluent English, Globish. Right now we can't even do Globish because we don't have the functioning of the organization, like the network in the organization, not functional yet. All right?
Yeah.
As far as responding to Zulu, Lucy could take time off. So language and culture. So Lucy decided to, not do the scheduled contention session. So she can take time off all she wants, and she can, come back and schedule with us if she wants. So but that's up to her, right? We can't control what she does. That's totally up to her. So as far as like moving forward, so next step / moving forward. So there's options for Lucy we can't control. And then there's options for us. We make Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the options for Lucy are pretty simple. She can either, request to get back involved in the team by simply scheduling the contentious situation and addressing the issues. Additionally, she could just wait and not schedule and take time off. She could ask questions. She can create her own branch of the network and contract between the branches and even still get paid based on achieving output and deliverables.
Jay, a question on creating own branch on the network of the network. Does it mean that if someone creates a branch, are they going to follow the policies we have, or they have their own policies?
They would have their own policies, right? Totally separate policies. Basically, a separate organization, separate branch of the network. So it's basically she doesn't have to follow any policies. Right? So then basically she makes her own policies. And all we care about is that the work gets done. Right? So if the work is getting done and she's doing output and deliverables, we pay her for the output and deliverables. Right? And then she can follow whatever policies that she wants to. Right? And it's just it's not of our concern, right? But she has to do the work and follow through with it. Otherwise, it wouldn't make any sense. So there's pros and cons, obviously, to setting up your own branch of the network. The primary con is that there's nothing there, right? So you have to set it up from scratch. It's a lot of work. The pros, you can do whatever the hell you want to, right? On our side, and the FKNQ network and the Uni network and all the work that I've done over the last 20 years, it's all about collaborating. It's all about communication. It's all about working together in teams. So the focus is always going to be teams and working together. And anyone who, gets in the way of that, it needs to be addressed. So that's a very specific set of policies and models for how we organize. Does that answer your questions, Albina? Do you have any other questions?
Yes, you answered my question.
Okay.
No other question.
So options for us. So there's very specific options for us. One, we could obviously do nothing, right? Do nothing and change nothing. Lucy and Joseph would stay in the budget. If we do nothing and we change nothing, then Lucy and Joseph would stay in the budget. Lucy would be paid for any and all communications, scheduled sessions, right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right? So just like before, she is currently in the budget. She currently gets paid automatically. We could also propose to remove Lucy and Joseph from the budget. And we could also propose to set up an initial agreement with Lucy's new branch of the network as a trial. So that's another thing we could do, and that would be, amount of money. And output / deliverable. But this might be a waste of time if Lucy is not interested. I think those are our only options. I mean, there's got to be something else. Other, not sure. I'm sure there's some other option as well. So we just want to figure out how we want to move forward. So let's go back to Zilu.
Are you asking me something there? Sorry, I'm not getting it.
Oh, yeah, it's your turn. So I've done, you can just say what you think we should do to move forward and then go from there. What do you think we should do?
I'm confused what to say actually right now. Because if I say something, then it will be affect someone.
Well, that's what all of our decisions affect people constantly. So there's no decision that we make that doesn't affect people. So our options are either option one, to do nothing, change nothing. We could also like try to get more communications with Lucy. So someone could volunteer to take on the responsibility to communicate with Lucy. All right. Option two would be to remove Lucy and Joseph from the budget. Option three would be propose initial agreements external from the network or from our branch. And option four would be something else. So we don't need to propose that Lucy and Joseph will be removed from the budget immediately. It could just be at the end of the month. We could also consider removing Steve O and Jessica for not participating. So Zilu,
we can also maybe give Lucy a few times so that she can reallocate everything what she want actually. Like if she want to take some time, that is fine. Also, if she want to create a new branch, that is also fine. But she need to make a proposal for that.
Okay, I mean, I think that's option one because that's basically option one is do nothing, give her time, try to schedule with her, give her a chance to schedule with us and communicate with us again. So you basically thinking option one? Feel
Yes, yes.
Okay. Albina. Anything else you want to say? Wait. Anything else you want to say, Zilu, about anything?
Yeah, because I'm considering this one, option one, because it was Sunday, and as I know, she is on Sunday, the day off of yours, and also so she was saying that she was working, and but on that time he was forcing her to assign works or what she was confirming on that right now on that time. So she maybe not engaged with her home or something like that. So maybe something occurs or happening in their lives, people's lives. So maybe she was busy, whatever. So we can give her some time to rectify the things. We can make a communication. If she wants to engage, right, regular and follow the policy, then that will be good. If you're not allowing the policies or you don't want to get involved, that is also fine. You can remove her.
Cool. All right, that sounds good. Albina?
For me, I go with option one. We give her time, and also option three for the new branch, to create a new branch if she does not want to follow the policy, our policies. to ensure that the work is done. So for me, I'm considering option 1 and option 3.
Cool. All right. So I'm fine with option 1 for now as well. The only other thing I can think of is if anyone wanted to, document Lucy's output. And this could be something that she could document as well. Because that's one thing that I'm confused on. So that would also be a responsibility. So if anyone wants to either try to get to communicate with Lucy, since she doesn't have a buddy, she needs someone to follow through with her and communicate with her. And then also someone wanted to document output for Lucy. Those would be the two things that are responsibilities. Everything else is just kind of, Albina, I guess this would be a responsibility, is like initial. Yeah, we're about to take a break. So initial concept of new agreement. So if someone wanted to work on the initial new agreement, we could do that. So does anyone want to take any of these responsibilities on, or no? You don't have to, and then we can just stick with option 1 and just wait.
What is supposed to be done on the initial concept of new agreement?
Well, it would all need to be in writing.
Okay, for the new branch, okay.
Right, so it's like right now she has a worker agreement. She follows the policies and does the work based on the worker agreement, right? Which includes doing whatever the hell you want to and tracking your time and getting paid for not doing any work, right? We pay our workers regardless of what they do, right? So you're not paid based on output. This would be a different arrangement where we wouldn't be paying her as a worker. The money would be going to a separate branch of the network. So it's very different. And there would be no oversight over the work. All right, so anyone want to sign up for any of these responsibilities, or should we go ahead and just move on?
I can try to document Lucy's output.
I'll try to communicate with her.
All right, thank you. All right, so let's go on to a break. So we're going to take a break, and then we come back with a break. We're going to go over the prime plan. So we can link that, and it should go pretty quickly. I mean, basically the goal is, what needs to get completed so that we can focus on recruitment. All right, so basically the steps before recruitment. All right, so let's take a 5-minute break. We're going to do this prime plan for 5 to 10 minutes. Then we're going to go over the recruitment verification spreadsheet. All right. Cool.
Yes.
What do you want to get for food?
I'm back.
Come back.
You say you're ready?
Yeah, we are.
Okay. All right, let's see if we can get through this quick. So the key thing with the plan here is that the fifth top priority is recruitment, right? Recruitment and outreach and recruitment. So that means that as far as the Recruitment Commission is concerned, there are 4 priorities that are in the purview of outreach and recruitment. Does that make sense, or should I explain it better?
What that means, the fifth plan is for outreach and recruitment because we have to complete up the top 4. Main planning and the basic things and the brilliant things.
Yeah, so the Outreach and Recruitment Commission is has to be responsible for a little more than just recruitment. And it's specifically, 1 through 4 of the prime plan. All right, so for the Outreach and Recruitment Commission to be able to focus on recruitment, planning, basic needs, value and payroll, and gov compliance need to be, in good standing. Right? So anytime there's a problem with planning, basic needs, value and payroll, government compliance, right? That puts a major strain on being able to do outreach and recruitment. Does that make sense?
Yes, makes sense.
So our goal right now with the three of us is to get through 1, 2, 3, and 4 as quickly as possible so that we can focus on the outreach and recruitment. Right? So even though 1, 2, 3, and 4 are not part of outreach and recruitment, they come before the outreach and recruitment and therefore need to be within the purview of the commission so that the commission can function. Otherwise, the commission doesn't function, right? In the same way, we don't necessarily need support systems and scheduling, asset and liabilities management, internal compliance and rules protocols, systems creation, coordination, or campaigns in order to do outreach and recruitment. So we don't need to worry about 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 in order to do recruitment, right? Recruitment can function without 5 through 9. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. But recruitment can't function without, 0, 1, 2, 3. All right. So let's go through each of them. So planning. For planning, let's just do like 1 minute on each. It should be pretty quick to get through these. So if you can do some timing on it. So for planning, we basically need to schedule a session. So that's essentially, all these will be needing to schedule a session. We need to update self-driven responsibilities. We need to update the prime plan coordination or create a new planning doc for this info. And then we need to make sure we are updating the beyond super hard stop priorities.
30 seconds are over. 30 more seconds on that.
Okay, can anyone think of anything else on the planning that is super essential? I guess just like, continuing to update the percentage status and evaluation. As long as all that's happening, it's fine. I mean, technically speaking, the weekly check-in would be part of that, okay? We need to make sure the weekly check-in feeds into the status spreadsheet, all right?
Yes.
Anything else on planning? Okay, so basic needs. So we already scheduled the support team for full moon. So the full moon session is going to be a support team session. It's going to be a different model. It's not going to be a main session. So that's going to help. From there, we need to schedule Jay's umbrella support. And just like I have a lot of things I need to deal with locally. Help Jay get a deal with local personal issues to be able to focus more on the network. So from here, I think we need to add in team 5 and functioning. So if our basic needs, our basic organizational needs are also need to be addressed, like we can't function and move forward if there's a huge conflict between me and Lucy, right? It doesn't work. We can't get work done. We can't function in that environment.
A minute is over on that.
Can anyone think of any other basic needs? Worker policies, I think this is important as well. So for the full moon, let's make sure we set up an agenda item to focus on worker policies that promote wellness and taking care of our basic needs. Okay. So this is all going to happen at the full moon. The full moon is very important. moving on. Next is value and payroll. So we're getting to the full moon is going to be 2 weeks after last month. I don't think people have been paid. So payroll verification. So someone's supposed to do this. This is oversight and double/triple payroll verification. Right? Owner's payroll. Scheduling value and payroll session. So I believe that the two of you are supposed to do this. So you guys might even need a schedule for that.
So you need the schedule.
So, I mean, this all needs to get done. From here, we need to have a plan for how to implement equity and distribution of value and our options for that. Tokens, etc. Tokens. You know, I think it's fine to wait as well. So if we are all okay to just wait, maybe for next month, right? So we'll have to see what we can do for that. But we need to make sure we're not forgetting about that. Super top priority. Anything else for value and payroll?
No.
When can we get this done by? And when can we schedule sessions and so scheduling is definitely a responsibility as well. So is anyone working? Are you guys going to do the oversight double payroll verification so we can get everyone paid, or?
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and when are we going to get that done by?
On Thursday?
What?
Okay, you were asking something. I was asking on scheduling. What about on Thursday?
What do you want to schedule on Thursday?
I saw scheduling value and payroll session.
You want to schedule this on Thursday?
I was
Thursday
suggesting on that.
What?
Yeah. Yes, I was suggesting on Thursday, Andromeda.
Okay, so this will be one time Thursday Andromeda for scheduling and value payroll. But that means you need to get the oversight double payroll verification done ahead of time. The owner's payroll, we're supposed to have a verification spreadsheet. Also, there is budget, budget updating for next month. All right, we don't want to forget about this, right? Also, it's really important that we set up a verification spreadsheet for budget, right? I don't think we have a clear verification spreadsheet for the budget. So this is another responsibility that needs to happen. This is monthly budget. In addition to that, we need to do overall value and payroll. Let's get the correct name. It's basically, we have value tracking and distribution. So we need an overall verification spreadsheet for that as well. So when we do this one, it's going to be, create and start updating the verification spreadsheet. Right, so there's going to be a verification spreadsheet for all payroll sessions. All right, any other questions on this?
No.
Before Thursday, we need to schedule for double verification, right?
Yeah, can we do it tomorrow, Andromeda? Or
well, tomorrow there's the double session.
We have full moon and simple.
Oh yeah, before that, Zero. If you get time, just communicate on Skype.
And if you want to do it during the full moon or seasonal, we can. You just have to prioritize it.
Okay.
All right. So anyways, there's a lot going on here. This is one of the things that we're going to want to systematize and simplify and get out of the way as much as possible, because there's just a lot that goes on there. And that's going to be part of this updating and verification spreadsheet. We're going to be adding setup, systems, simplification. Okay. All right. Are we ready to move on to government compliance?
Yeah.
Okay, government compliance. So for government compliance, obviously the top priority is the RRF1 forms for Community Life Network and the CT1 and RRF for WCT. And as far as I know, Zilu's working on that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Zilu, you should be drafting all those forms and basically sending it to me and getting back to me. A lot of this can be done asynchronously if needed, but I do think we want to schedule a session as well for overall government compliance. So we're going to need also a verification spreadsheet for everything, right? So overall verification spreadsheet for all the different components. Actually, let's wait on this until we get there.
I have a question.
Overall,
the S.
What?
You said that we need to add the SOS. SOS means the articles and the bylaws. These are the SOS.
SOS, no. Bylaws, all of that goes in this with the CT1 form for WCTC. So basically for California compliance for nonprofits, there's three components. There's the SOS, and this is the statement of info. There's the franchise tax board, which is the state taxes. And then there is the Office of Attorney General, which is the RRF1 forms. Okay. So this happens once every 2 years. See policy on that. This happens annually, and this happens last after taxes are done. Okay. So the OAG, the RRF1 form is always the last thing that you do after everything else, which is probably why we skip it. Does that make sense? It's kind of like how we always skip step 8. We never do step 8. OAG is like step 9. Does that make sense? So it's after step 8. First you do step 8, you verify that everything is done with all your taxes, then you do step 9, which is OAG. So this is step 9. But it's only, step 9 only exists for nonprofits. Okay?
Okay.
So for-profits don't have a step 9, only the nonprofits have step 9.
Okay.
Okay, so then the only other thing related to this is that we need to decide if we want to wait or move forward with other government compliance priorities. So the top priorities are in relationship to the Global Cyber Organization. That's one. There's the trusts, either Delaware or California or both. So between these two, that would get us pretty good, right? We also need to do corporation. This helps us with our tokens. And then also it would be good to do, maybe another LLC, like a foreign LLC. Anyway, so we have to figure out what we want to do here for these priorities, but we technically may be able to wait, 2 weeks to 1 month. maybe say 2 months, 2 months. Same thing, could wait, 1 to 3 months. Can wait up to 2+ months if we don't distribute tokens. This one, can wait until foreigners want ownership, legal ownership, which comes with, which includes with. So anytime if we want to set up the foreigner business, it's going to include withholding. So right now we pay everybody as workers, but we know we're tracking equity, right? So your equity is a sub equity. So current, everyone gets what's called sub equity, and community equity. So to change it, the change would be to make it primary equity, and this would be legally registered with the IRS, etc. Or a separate country. I mean, we could create organizations in other countries, although that would be more expensive. So it's easier to do it in the US for now. But bottom line, although there may be some countries that we could do it for the same cost, we'll have to see. But the bottom line is that it's going to be, it requires withholdings. Okay. So we might be able to find another country we could register in that would not require withholdings. I don't know, but the easiest thing to do is just to do the withholdings.
30-second stretch at the bottom of the stretching down.
All right, so 30-second stretch. See if there's any questions on this, and then we'll be ready to move on. All right. Anything else here? Okay. So plenty of government compliance work to do, but a lot of it can be pushed back so that we can focus more on recruitment and outreach and get more help. Okay. So we need the link to the the verification spreadsheet. So the desired outcome is to review the verification spreadsheet of responsibilities and to get done before we launch our recruitment. So it shouldn't take very long just to review.
Yeah.
So, and also just to remind you, until we've scheduled our planning session, our basic needs session, our value and payroll session, and our government compliance session, we are not going to be scheduling any more worker recruitment sessions. Okay, because the last time we scheduled the recruitment session, it went really bad, and part of me is still concerned that that was one of the issues around all of the problems with Lucy, is that we basically got completely off because we tried to do a session that no one was prepared for, and we should have canceled it before we even got to it, right? All right, so let's take a look at this verification spreadsheet. So one of the things to note here is we said we were going to skip the fundraising posts and the donor self-engagement process. But we did do one thing. I'll just add it as a new line. Fundraising 2-pager. So we have a new fundraising 2-pager. And this is basically completed. I emailed that to you guys. I don't know if you saw it.
I saw it, yeah.
Also, I need to send a message to Jason. He may do a benefit dinner or something with us. So I need to send him another message about the benefit. So if anyone's interested in following through on that, we could. Okay. So the updated fundraising post. So this, now that we have the 2-pager, you may not want to skip this, right? Maybe we should do the fundraising because that would be really good to get that back on track, right? And again, the fundraising 2-pager is basically done. I mean, I don't know if what else needs to be done there. You know, it's like 95%. All right. So recruitment management, we still don't have good recruitment management. I guess we were waiting on that. Main session support, we did. Zila's doing this. That's good. Scheduling recruitment, set up work session. So Zila, you're supposed to be scheduling the work session for recruitment, but we're gonna wait on that. So let's just wait on that one, okay? Update the plans management. Update the plans. So we're kind of going through the plan, but yeah, there's a lot of plans to be updated. They're not particularly updated. I think we're kind of waiting on this though, right? Because right now we're going to focus on the other plans. Updated timeline. I mean, I think this is done and complete. Updated job post, done and complete, done and complete. All right, let's go on to this next one. Updated local SFA outreach post. So if anyone wants to help with that, this one is a priority. And we do need to do this eventually. Okay. Updated self-engagement for local SFA. This also needs to happen. So we could just wait on it and get it scheduled when we get there. Updating fundraising post. We're skipping this for now. So we might not want to skip this. We're gonna need to do the donor self-engagement. The fundraising post should be pretty simple. It's just gonna link to the new intake form. So I guess we can also note here that there is another thing, which is the fundraising pledge form, right? And this is also pretty much done. We may need to create an investor pledge form eventually, which is a little bit more complicated. Investor pledge form, more complicated. So this has not been started, but we're skipping for now. All right, so all the donor fundraising stuff, that looks good. Paid worker self-engagement process. Paid worker self-engagement process. I mean, we're making a lot of progress on this. You know, it's really close. If anyone wants to work on that with me, they can, but I'm continuing to work on it. Outreach volunteer self-engagement process, you know, about the same thing. So these could be things that we schedule for. Page 2 cert self-engagement. So these also I was working on. I'm making progress. I think, yeah. Introduction to recruitment system doc. So Zila and Lucy, we're gonna work on that. So I think a lot of this, we're just gonna need to schedule our session. So a lot of this we're just waiting on, but when we get to the point where we're doing it, we'll assign some self-driven responsibilities. So for now, does anyone have any questions on stage 2 membership invitation? All these updates need to be made?
Yeah, the membership invitation and the IRT invitation I saw already have. You want to update these with which information need to be updated there? For the IRT invitation membership, future invitation 3.
Okay, well they're probably better, but we probably still want to review them and double check them and everything.
Okay.
Yeah, so we need to schedule that. Make sure we follow through with that. Cool. So I mean, we're making progress, but it's just not enough. We don't have enough time yet to work on this because we're so few of us. But as soon as we get through these priorities that we just went over, right? Planning, basic needs, value, payroll, government compliance. As soon as we get through this, we can focus on outreach and recruitment, which is going to be way better. And then we'll get outreach and recruitment done really quickly if we're actually focused on it, you know? All right. So I think overall is that, you know, I would say overall there's no self-driven recruitment responsibilities. Okay?
Yeah.
You know, Jay is going to follow up with Jason about fundraising. So are there any other questions about the outreach and recruitment?
No.
You know, so I think overall we're not really close to being there. The main thing here is our plan. I think that part is missing. Update information review, stage 3. So that, oh, here we go. Stage 3 setup. Ready, and who is doing? Oh, wait, that's 3. No, invitation stage 3. Update invitation approval. That everybody. So there's one other thing here that's missing, which is like final prep for who for pre-launch check, I guess we call it. Know who is doing what when after we launch. So we just need to do one last review of everything and who's doing what so that it's clear before we launch, right? So it's like by the time that we get to, you know, the IRT invitation for stage 2, we'll already know who's doing that, right? And so then when we get to stage 2 IRT invitation for the actual launch, we're actually doing it. There's no question of like, oh my God, who's doing this and when is it going to happen and how are we going to, and nothing's organized and it's all big chaos and no one's going to do it and then nothing happens. We want to not do that. So this final prep for pre-launch check is knowing who's doing what when after we launch. So we need to go through all of the steps that need to be done after we get agreement and we launch, right? So that by the time we get to those steps, everyone already knows what they're supposed to be doing, when they're supposed to do it, so it happens quickly and efficiently, and we follow up and we actually help and support the people to get the jobs that they need. Which is what we're here to do, is to actually help people as opposed to just think about ourselves. All right, so I think that's it. Any other questions? All right, so I think we're ready to wrap up and check out. You know, we can review the self-driven responsibilities again if you guys have questions about them. But definitely scheduling, team scheduling is really big. And for our team scheduling, you guys need to follow up on the priorities, and I added the priorities in for team scheduling, which includes executive planning evaluation, umbrella support, payroll, value payroll, value tracking and distribution. We might want to do those separately, government compliance and taxes. Okay, so all these need to be scheduled. So let's check out and then we're done.
So we are going to schedule for things tomorrow or later.
What's the question?
When we are going to schedule for the things on the priorities like tomorrow.
Tomorrow we have 2 sessions already scheduled. One for the seasonal session, which is the management, and then we have the full moon, right? So for the management session, which is the seasonal session, we should be reviewing everything for the last 3 months, like all the decisions the last 3 months, like everything that's going on for the global core team should be reviewed, right? So that certainly could be put into our self-driven, would be, prep for seasonal session. And we should even have a checklist and everything for the seasonal session of what needs to get done for that. I'll obviously be working on seasonal session as well. Full moon, I don't think there's really anything that we need to do to prep for the full moon. So I'm not too worried about that. And there is another responsibility I want someone to take on, which is the rankings of proposals who will be removed from the budget and setting up the removals from the budget.
Is there one thing more?
And we also need to do worker status criteria, but I think the worker status criteria is pretty simple. It's basically, besides the 3 of us, everybody else needs to be proposed to be removed from the budget because they're not meeting criteria. Yes, Silu?
Yeah. Can you please review the template for the support team? Tomorrow we have the template is need to be updated to update. You can add. I linked it in the bottom of the page.
Well, it's missing all of the information that we went over, like the schedule and like that first you start with the breakouts and the buddy teams, and then you do, I don't know, it's just missing everything that we wrote, like what happened to all the details that we wrote. Like it was 30 minutes for the first thing, and then you come back together, and then you do the report backs, and then, so it's missing the setup. It's missing the whole agenda. Like what we went through all of it. It was all in our notes before. Remember when I said to index it? You don't remember?
Yeah.
I mean, we can redo the whole thing from scratch if we want to, but we already did it. So why not just copy and paste it in, which was the whole point. And we're missing all the setup stuff. So all the setup is what's missing. And so that's a problem. Anyways, we'll need to go through all of this on the full moon and review it and update it and get it completed. Okay. Okay.
Jay, can we check bits on the quarterly budget, responsibility organizing, or we can check during the film?
Yeah, let's just go over that during the seasonal session or full moon. And again, it's like at the beginning of the session is where you put your desired outcomes and your priorities, not at the end.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, technically speaking, if we did review that, it would be against policy because we basically would be adding a new agenda item that is not related to any existing agenda item. And so it basically extends our meeting when we should be wrapping up and checking out already.
Sure. Okay.
But if you want to send it to me, I could review it asynchronously. And I think you're just supposed to be updating the responsibly organizing, make sure the goals are clear, and then we can just do I mean, it should be really simple budgets, right? It shouldn't be complicated at all. All right, so let's check out, shall we?
Yeah, we shall.
Okay.
Yes.
Who wants to start?
I can.
Okay, Albina.
The session was good. I give it 6. I'll be focusing on payroll double verification, quarterly budget, and also for the scheduled session for this week. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go next. I thought the session was okay. I give it like a 6 as well. I feel overall the most important thing we did was address the situation with Lucy. I feel like the number one take on that is that we are publicly accountable. Everything that we do should be to focus on the needs of the public and the needs of the world to transform and help the world deal with all the crises across the world. If we can't even address our own issues and communicate properly and get work done, right, we're not focused on the public and being publicly accountable, right? So we need to get through, if we need to make the hard decisions, if those decisions support the needs of the public. Because if we're making decisions based on what's best for us personally, then that's a problem, right? So I'll be working on getting ready for the seasonal session and the full moon tomorrow, and I will be excited about moving forward on all of the prime plan priorities and getting everything updated and organized. I mean, hopefully we can get the taxes done, at least the government compliance done by the end of the week. It'd be great if we could at least have all the drafts ready, and I'll be helping. Well, one of the things we need to schedule for that is that we need to schedule the time to go over all the past years. I mean, we're gonna have to go all the way back through 2007 and do taxes through 2007. Although a lot of the first like 5 years or so, we don't have 990s, so we only have to do the last like 3 or 4 years of 990.
Till 2009, 2008, from 2008 to have the asset, the balance is there.
Yeah. So it'll be okay. We'll figure it all out.
Okay.
Yes. I was gonna say one other thing, but I seem to have forgotten. Oh well. Cool. Check. Zilu.
This session was good and 6. We'll be working on minimum compliances and payroll documentation.
Awesome. All right, I think we're done.
Bye.
Okay, take care. Bye.